special edition of the JANHA show.
Mr. Ousainou Mbenga, chairman of the Democratic Union of Gambian Activists, known as DUGA, based in the United States, has applauded Gambians for making history by voting out dictatorship in the last presidential election.
It's JAMA. Gambian people will never forgive you. There might be some of your rats running around there trying to think that they can destabilize that country, but that is not going to work. The people have tested freedom, and we are never going to go back to those days of horror and terror. I mean, you will never know peace in your life, because you denied us peace and harmony for 22 years. But
Mr. Mbenga was born and raised in the Republic of the Gambia, a country in West Africa that is entirely surrounded by Senegal except for its coastline on the Atlantic Ocean at its western end. It is the smallest country in mainland Africa, with a population of 2 million people. The Gambia shared historical roots with many other West African nations in the slave trade, which was the key factor in placing and keeping of a colony on the Gambia River. First by the Portuguese, during which era it was known as a Gambia. Later, on May 25, 1765, the Gambia was made part of the British Empire when the government formally assumed control, establishing the province of Senegambia. In 1965, the Gambia gained independence under the leadership of Sir Dawda Jawara, who ruled until Yahya Jammeh seized power in a bloodless coup in 1994. Adama Barrow became the third president in January 2017 after defeating Jammeh in December 2016 election. Jammeh initially refused to accept the result, which triggered a constitutional crisis and military intervention by the economic community of West African states, resulting in his exile.
We are not going back to the PPP era, and we are not going back to the Jammeh era. And we are not going to settle for anything but Jammeh. We want the best sons and daughters of the Gambia to lead us out of this misery that we have been in for the last 52 years. And that's why I'm so appreciative of this, Mimi.
Mr. Mbenga was so kind enough and granted us the interview in his beautiful home in Hyattsville, Maryland.
Who came before us,
In Mr. Mbenga's voice, freedom for all or freedom for none. Those are the words that he lives by. That was the part 1 of our exclusive with Mr. Ousainou Mbenga, the chairman of Democratic Union of Gambian Activists, known as DUGA, based in the United States. Stay tuned and keep it locked for the part 2 exclusive coming up.
Yeah, so when I went back, and people were just telling me, Mati, freedom is sweet.
Yes,
and I said, I mean, even, in Wolof, I said, I'm going back in Jam. Everybody wants, peace. Even Jammeh, with all that horror and terror that he had unleashed on the Gambian people, he wanted peace too, but he's never going to have peace for the rest of his life. He's 4,000 miles away from the Gambia now, that he claimed to have loved, and he wrecked it to the ground. So, and then I went, and people were just so appreciative of what we were doing. The first time I stayed in a hotel going home, and I want to say that too, I want to really thank the people at the African Village Hotel.
In Gambia?
Yeah, in Gambia, especially Mr. Susu and his staff. they treated me like, and I said, man, come on. He said, no, no, no. They brought me in a refrigerator and a kettle to make tea. And I said, no. He said, no, bro. If it wasn't for you guys, this wouldn't have happened.
You know what, you say that. Anyways, we of course, you know, congratulations to the new government in the Gambia right now. And it's just so humbling. You, after everything that you just did for the love of Gambia and the Gambian people. And you go home. When was the last time you were home?
2011, 6 years ago.
6 years ago.
Yeah.
So when you went there, and all of a sudden, strangers that you don't really know are being super nice to you.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
Oh, I was so honored and humbled. It was just very humbling.
So it was all worth it. The
Yes.
jail, the suffering, you know, putting everything on the line. You finally, like, you know, inhaling and exhaling the air of
Yes.
freedom. And the people that you're doing it for are very appreciative of you.
Yeah, breathing space. The
Mashallah.
breathing space that we had. You know, it was so humbling, Mimi. And my family members and some of my friends surprised me. You know, when we got to the airport, the media was there and the the drumming and music and the motorcade.
So you can feel like a welcoming.
Yeah, it was such
Oh my
it was so
God.
humbling, and I mean, I just couldn't even express
Oh,
how I felt, you know, at the airport, because my friends, my family member, like the way I characterized it was that my biological family and the bigger family, the national family, all came, you know.
all of us, everybody.
Yes, because see, freedom. That's why freedom is sweet, and that's what they felt, you know, and they wanted to also share their appreciation of what we were doing here.
Yes.
You know, I told them, no, you guys are the ones who did it. You went out and voted, and they were telling me, no, Uncle Oz, you know, if it wasn't for you guys, I said, we went back and forth. I said, okay, we all did bond of unity, you know, if we do it, you know, with humility and honesty. And I was so humbled. I mean, you know, I was very, very humbled. You know, and it was one of the most, the experience was just, see, now I can even express myself. You know, I was, you know, that's how I felt about it. It was great, though.
Goosebumps.
Yes.
You know, it's such a happy moment. And for the first time, we can actually sit and say, thank God I'm Gambian. And it's all because of people like us.
Yeah, all of us, you know, I mean, like...
Because we needed a leader. We needed someone to lead the way. And you all put your life on hold for our freedom. Because you don't really need anything in Gambia. You're good. You know, you already settled. You're good. You have everything. You're good. You're set. But you did it for the other generation. Like my type of generation, where I'm able to express my journalism skills. I'm able to talk to anyone about any issue that's going on in the Gambia.
Exactly.
If Jamie is watching this show today, what is one thing that you want to tell him?
One thing I want to tell him, I don't know wherever you are, 4,000 miles away, that people, the Gambian people, will never forget what you have done to that beautiful country. You ran it to the ground and stole all our resources for you and your wife, and run the country to the ground. And it's Jamie. Gambian people will never forgive you. There might be some of your rats running around there trying to think that they can destabilize that country, but that is not going to work. The people have tasted freedom, and we are never going to go back to those days of horror and terror. I mean, you will never know peace in your life, because you denied us peace and harmony for 22 years. But I just want to let you know another thing too, that sooner or later you will be taken to court, and we're going to try you, and we're going to make sure it happens in Africa and not in Europe.
Amen. Amen.
You know?
Amen.
So that's what I really want to tell Jamie, and then all of his secret enablers, you know, who are now positioning themselves, you know, into the new government, we are aware of all these things. And we just want to tell the new government that we are not going back to the PPP era, and we are not going back to the JAME era. And we are not going to settle for anything but JAME. We want the best sons and daughters of the Gambia to lead us out of this misery that we have been in for the last 52 years. And that's why I'm so appreciative of this, Mimi, and this for your audacity to have this interview, because I believe in freedom, and I will always believe in freedom. And we are telling people that the Gambians, this is the era that we have to begin to engage in revolutionary and progressive politics. Politics, as usual, hasn't done us any good. It's never going to do us any good. So the young people in the Gambia, the women in the Gambia, particularly, you know, there's a future, a bright future ahead of us, and we should not allow anybody, any government, to come and return us back to the 22 years of the Jame era. And I know, I always say this, I'm not saying it because you're sitting here, maybe. All of you Gambian women, African women, if you don't take part in this process, it's never going to come to a conclusion. You are our mothers, you are our sisters, you are our wives, but we know the ability that you have to really transform society. So stand up and take your position in the Gambian society, in African society, so that we can create a bright future for generations to come.
Everything that you just said, how does it make you feel?
I mean, it makes me feel, you know, I am so optimistic. You know, I'm very optimistic. I'm a revolutionary activist. I'm always optimistic about the potential of Africa, even though the enemies of Africa, including our own people, like Jame, who don't want that to happen. But it's going to happen, because all the signs are evident that people are fed up, people are tired, you know, and in our particular case, even in Gambia, or Senegal, people are fed up. They want their lives changed. They want to have, you know, they want to send their children to school, just like anybody else. They want to make sure that their children have good health, good clean drinking water, and a habitable environment, you know. So all of these things, if one person wants to come and deny us all these things, I mean, me, I don't think I will not tolerate it anywhere, whether it's in the Gambia or anywhere in Africa or in the world. If I see injustice anywhere, I'm going to stand up and say something or do something about it, you know. And that's the kind of courage and determination that we want, you know, you people to really, you know, like inculcate, you know, and then make it part of your DNA to really transform the country, Gambia in particular, in the entire continent of Africa, and so that we can regain our humanity, you know, enjoy our own resources. We can travel anywhere, but nobody's going to run away from Africa again. Instead, you know, we're going to run back to Africa. Yeah.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Such a big, powerful message that you have for us. And I'm so honored to be sitting here receiving it firsthand.
After 22 years of dictatorship and horror, Adama Barrow became the third president in January 2017 after defeating Yahya Jammeh in December 2016 election. Jammeh initially refused to accept the result, which triggered a constitutional crisis and military intervention by the economic community of West African state, resulting in his exile.
Now Adama Barrow is the new president of the Gambia. Tell me, how do you feel about their current administration and everything that's going on in the Gambia presently?
Yes, you know, Mimi, let's go back down a little bit. 2016, or even back to 2015, all eyes were on Gambia. I mean, I'm talking about the whole world. In December, when the December 30th, 2014 incident happened, and there was no journal or paper in the world that did say something about Gambia. And in 2015, you know, we were getting ready for the elections, and as we all know, Gambia started putting certain stumbling blocks, you know, in our path for a fifth term, and that's when we also said we have to redouble our efforts of resistance to make sure that we're going to deny Gambia this fifth term.
Even if it's worth you losing your life.
Yes. Yes, even if it's worth, you know, if it's worth, you know, like your life is worth, it's worth living, losing for freedom. And we said there is no fifth time for Jammeh. Jammeh must go. That was unprecedented in the political history of the Gambia. In 2016, you know, as the elections neared, you know, we were struggling to make sure that Jammeh will never stay there for the fifth term. Well, you know the contradictions that were existing in all the political parties. Because there was no way one of them or two of them would have destroyed this guy.
No way.
So we pushed and pushed and raised some serious struggle, you know, with the opposition parties for them to have a coalition to come together.
Yeah. You know? So you guys were behind bringing all the parties together? Yeah,
we had to. You know, all of us. There were a lot of us here in the so-called diaspora, you know, in here and in Europe. And it was a struggle. It wasn't an easy thing. But finally, the people on the ground too got the message that we were putting across. That in order for Jammeh to leave, there's no fifth term for Jammeh, there has to be a coalition. And then we'll pick one candidate. And that candidate, we were assured that if we go through that process of selecting a candidate, Jammeh will not stay in the Gambia. And so finally, it worked.
So this was all, you know, you all sat and put it together, and you had an idea of this is what needs to be done in order for this man to get out. And we all know it's a dictator.
Yes.
You know, there is nothing out there that can take Jammeh out. Just knowing what he's capable of doing.
Yes.
But you guys were so sure that this is going to work.
Yeah, because we tried it years back in 2006 with NAD, National Association of NAD. I forgot what the acronym stands for again. But anyway, we tried to organize all the political parties to come together, and it didn't work. There was some, you know, real infighting and all this opportunist tendencies. You know. But anyway, NAD died. You know, and then
it was a success.
All the political parties, you know, went their own way, and then Jammeh won again. And we knew that it was going to happen. But there were some problems or contradictions that we realized when we were doing the first NAD to form the coalition. So we said this time...
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. So this was 2006.
Yes.
You guys formed this coalition before called NAD.
NAD.
To get Jammeh out.
Yes. But it didn't...
11 years ago.
Yeah, that didn't materialize, right?
Wow.
And so this time around, people have just been fed up. 22 years, we said, was too damn long to put up with Jammeh. So we did everything we could. And there were some very instrumental forces, you know, on the ground and outside. And finally, I guess the people who were going to go and vote said that if we don't have a coalition, we are not going to vote. And that threatened, you know, that sent the message very clear to all of them.
Wow.
That, you know, the nation, Gambia, is everything else is subordinate to the interests of the Gambian people, the nation. I don't care how many political parties we have in there. So finally, the message went across, and the coalition formed, and then Barrow became the nominee, and the campaign was just phenomenal. You see this sea of human beings. Wow. Like there were thousands of people who were following this the campaign trail with Barrow in the rural area, in the Combos, in Banjul, and everywhere. So that gave us so much hope, motivation, and courage. So we knew, that even if Jammeh started, you know, any of these you know, like corrupt practices, but he was finished because the campaign was just so phenomenal. I mean, and he knew it too. So I wanted to start there and then come to the election day. How the Gambian people really gave us what we wanted, and they went out and voter turnout was exceptional. And they, of course, Jammeh lost the elections. But you know, I'll be remiss if I don't really express serious concerns about what is happening right now. You know, and we all wanted Jammeh to go, and Barrow won the election. But they are, you know, if anybody who doesn't admit to those things or recognize them, you are being very dishonest. There are serious problems right now, you know, with the new government, and they have to listen to the people, because what they agreed on, they're already reneging on all of them. They're just going back on all of these things that they had agreed on. There was a memorandum of understanding among the political parties that is being dishonored right now. You know, and yeah, people have to understand all of these things, because look, we didn't fight this guy for 22 years only to create another you know, another close to or about to be Jammeh. You know, I mean, we don't. I for one, we have to sit down and just brush things under the carpet for expedience, or for that matter, even if I belong to a political party. Right now, what we are saying is that this guy has taken us back 52 years, and then we want to go forward, but we can only go forward united.
What are they really doing right now that makes you feel like we're going back to 52 years?
The first blunder was that the coalition, instead of moving towards engaging in the National Assembly elections as a coalition, they came up and called this a tactical coalition, you know, and then it's the UDP and NRP and My Fighter's Party. They're calling themselves the Tactical Alliance. Alliance, you know. So now, you know, like it's the Tactical Alliance and the coalition. So they split the coalition. And that's not the agreement that we had. A lot of people don't want to hear that. But we are not going to tolerate any kind of absolute hegemony by anybody or any political party in the country. Just like we fought Jammeh for 22 years, we can do it to anybody else who wants to come and impose any kind of, you know, absolute power on our lives. It's not going to happen. So these are the contradictions that are happening right now, Mimi. And the government is not listening. They're not listening to the people, the same people that put them in there. Now they think that they have authority. They can just come and impose certain laws and then playing these delaying tactics. Until now, we don't have a, you know, we have not sworn in a vice president. For what? What reason?
Wow.
You know, if you think that, you know, Mrs. Tambidang is qualified to be the vice president of that country, change the damn constitution. Look, the constitution is just a piece of paper, you know, we made it up.
It was written by Jammeh.
Yeah, it was written by Jammeh, you know, actually, you know, I call it the toilet paper constitution, because Jammeh came in and tailored it in his own image, and all he wanted. Yeah, he disregarded everything. Would this piece of paper become the focal point of the national crisis that the country faces now? It can be changed, just like Jammeh changed.
And it's the paper that was actually written by the former president, who is also known to be a dictator. Was a dictator.
And a tyrant.
So why are they honoring everything that he wrote?
That's what baffling us. That is what is really baffling us. Why would you? You know, we're saying that, you know, no, we didn't fight for a regime change. We fought for the system to be changed, so that the Gambian people will realize the power that they have, the power that they expressed on December 1st, 2016, you know, to bring about victory in the election of Adam Barrow, you know. So, I mean, And now the Barrow is elected, and he is being acting like I'm trying to. First of all, what I want to say maybe is that I supported the process for Barrow to come in, but I am not going to sit down and allow Barrow, or for that matter anybody, to think that they can just come and shove things down our throat, and nobody is going to make any criticism. Because right now, if you criticize Barrow or the government, you know, like they have these assassins that, you know, character assassins. Yeah, that's why I'm calling them.
What?
You know, like they want to.
This Jammers all over.
Yeah, assassinate people's characters, you know, and things like APRC. And these are the facts. These are the facts, and most people know it. So, and then that's what we want to make popular, and then, you know, make the entire country understand that the crisis hasn't. The crisis is not over yet, and if the UDP or it's the tactical coalition thinks that they have a monopoly to power and just do what they want to do, the same resistance is going to happen. Because look, maybe repression breeds resistance.
True.
If you keep repressing people, sooner or later they want to resist, just like we did with Jammeh. You know. So what we're trying to say is this: look, they need to calm down and understand that it wasn't one political party that brought that uprooted Jammeh. You know, like all of the political parties came together and make this happen. So I have some serious problems, you know, like with what is going on right now, and I'm not hiding it, and I will never hide it. And I know a lot of people are in the country and outside who share the same sentiments. And the moment we make these criticisms, you know, they want to just come and, you know, character assassinate people, and that's not going to work, because nobody's going to silence me. Yeah, I'm not going to be silenced by anybody. What the interest of the Gambia is primary, and everything else is subordinate.
So are you happy with them?
No, I am not. I will say it right here in the camera. I am not happy, you know, with the way things are going, because they're not listening to people, and now they engage, you know, no wonder they call it a tactical coalition. Like they want to kick everybody out of the way, and then it's just like it's a UDP thing, and that is what is wrong.
You know, and also, you know, President Anwar, you know, he's very big at that word when he said president by accident. He hates it, you know, just based on the interviews that I watched of you, sir. He hates that word, you know, president by accident. What is your intake about that?
Well, president by accident. I wouldn't characterize it such, but it's a fact that nobody knew Adam Barrow, right? Okay, so it's a fact that, you know, he was not a politician.
Oh,
yeah, you know, so these are facts, you know. So he might hate, you know, that characterization, you know, but something that is accidental is not. It should be offensive too.
It's not bad.
You know, I don't think it's bad. Because he was never a politician. You know, nobody knew about him, and then he is now the president. So, but if he continues on this track that he is on now, I don't know who is influencing this thing. Whether he is the one that sits down, you know, like and reasonably go through these processes and say, okay, you know, this is what we're going to do. Then he's going to have a very ugly legacy. And we didn't get into this thing to me personally, you know, I supported it because for several reasons. Because I heard he's a very humble guy, you know, which is a very good quality for a president.
He comes very humble.
Yeah,
that's true.
It's a very good quality for a president or any leader. And then two, like he is not like from the, what can I say? It's not the normal so-called intellectual thing that, you went to this or you got a degree and all this crap, But, so I think for a change, I was hoping that, for a change, he will understand and empathize with the vast majority of the Gambian people, the people, who are really struggling with food, clothing, shelter, basic things, water bill, electric bills, and things like that. So I'm just saying to him that, look, people want to support what you're doing, honestly, but the way you guys are going with this, the way you're going with it is wrong. It's only going to create chaos, and that's not what we want. We just came from the frying pan. We cannot go back to the fire, man. From the frying pan to the fire, frying pan to the fire. That's what I'm saying, that, like my brother, that's what you need to avoid. Because, we have the potential to really turn that country into heaven. And you as the president, act like the president, and make sure that, you are in for the interest of the vast majority of the Gambian people.
What exactly do you want him to do? If there's one thing that you want the President Barrow to know today, that President Barrow, this is the first thing I want you to do, what would that be?
First of all, the constitution that you have inherited, and you has to be, completely overhauled, because there are certain constrictions, and
stipulations
and limitations, like in it.
Wow.
If you don't take time, and do it at this stage right now, and then think that, you can just play these delaying tactics on all the way to the to the point where it starts to bring crisis, then, it's going to make things more difficult for you. So what I'm saying, handle the issues of the constitution first, because you are the only one who has the authority to do that. Get your vice president, have the vice president sworn. If you need to change that toilet paper constitution that Yahya Jammeh had abused, do that. Okay, and then we move forward. That the government is a UDP government. It is not a UDP government. We didn't vote for you as a UDP. We voted for you as a candidate for the coalition to for the interest of the entire country. So I'm just telling you as a brother that a lot of us are not going to sit down and accept that. It's not a UDP regime. It was a coalition regime, and there is these tendencies of deviating from what you had agreed on with the coalition. So those are the two things that I want to tell you. And then the third thing that I want to say, convey, is that prioritize. Because the living conditions of the people in the Gambia is very hard. Food, clothing, or food and shelter, or generally, our subsistence. Because we have to eat, you have to pay your electric bill, water bill, and things like that. Let's prioritize. And you cannot keep telling the people to sacrifice when you don't sacrifice. Most of you are still maintaining your, those salaries that, you inherited from the Jammeh regime. One. And number two, you don't want to reveal what assets you have at this point. But that was those were one of the things that we agreed. That everybody will declare how much money they have and what assets that they have. And then, that's been swept under the rug too. The people want to know, so that after 3 years, whoever comes up, like with 20 homes or $900 million somewhere, we will know how that happened. So these are the things that people have, the Gambian people have. The Gambian people, sir, they are so fed up and then hungry and tired that some of them don't even have time to really think about this thing. All they want to do is where they're going to eat, How are they going to send their children to school, you know, clean water and electricity?
The
It's
basic
thing.
necessity.
Right.
Right.
But my brother, I'm telling you, we want to be behind you and work with you 100%, but it's not going to be business as usual. Those days are over. Vote for me and then shut up. We are not, look, it's not even coming from me alone, maybe, but the Gambian people on the ground, I don't even want to accept that nonsense. Yeah. So this is what I have. This is what I want to convey to Mr. Barrow, Adam Barrow, the President Adam Barrow, and I hope he's listening. We write on the internet, Facebook, and the local papers, expressing our dissatisfaction with the way things are going. It's on the wrong track, you know. And so, if you want harmony and peace, you have to work for it.
So how does that make you feel? You know,
No, it makes
after
me
all
feel
these years of effort and work that you put in for democracy, for freedom, for humanitarian, for people just to say, like, my favorite word is freedom is sweet, right? So how does that make you feel? And you know, within less than a year, it's actually, I don't even think it's 6 months.
no, it's not. But
Yeah, so how does that make you feel?
I tell you, I'm not disappointed, but you know, I see, because these signs were there and then they manifested themselves right before the National Assembly election, when they detained themselves and calling themselves Tactical Alliance, for the simple reason, because they said that.
Whose idea was that name, Tactical Alliance?
Yeah,
I want to know who came up with that name.
Yeah,
and how did they even accept that? Because the word alone is just very kind of unsettling.
Exactly.
It's like something is not right.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. That, and Nini, I'm surprised, you know, most of you young people have really seen the error in it, and that something very suspicious, you know, Tactical Alliance. So, I mean, tactical, because they don't want their party to die. What do you mean you don't want your party to die? So you want Gambia to die?
You didn't really care about the Gambian people.
That's what it is. So you want your party to live in Gambia to die? Is that what you are telling us?
So you think it's great?
I don't care whether it was PPP, TOI, or anything like that. You know, like any party in that country is subordinate to the Gambian interest, or should be subordinate to the Gambian interest.
Do you think they're also greedy? Or
Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this break. Keep it locked. Only one
is power hungry.
But that's the thing. These are the combination of things. These signs and indications are very evident. And we are saying that, you know, we are seeing these signs and indicators. And that's where you're driving. That's where you're driving us to. And we are not getting into this train and end up going into another wreck. So that's why we're saying these things from the get-go. People are saying, oh, they have not even been here 6 months. Give them time. Chance? Isn't that what we used to say about Germany? Give them a chance. Give them a chance. No, this is a test. That's what I want everybody to understand, you know, like almost Gambia. Service to the nation or the people is a test from now on. We are not giving anybody a chance to end up being where Germany had left us.
One quick question. I have one question for you. You know, do you think you were really ready for this?
I don't, you know.
Put into consideration 22 years of one man running the country, and now all of a sudden, a group of, you know, hardworking, supposedly they care about the Gambia coming together, and now they all have opportunity to change life and make Gambia a better place. Do you think they were really ready for this position, like this year, this moment, this time?
The Gambian people yearn for change, yearn for new administration, and also yearn for new leadership. Were they ready for the Adam Barrow administration after undergoing 22 years of dictatorship from Yahya Jammeh? This was a question that a lot of people, especially Gambians, wanted to know. And here we present the question to Mr. Mbenga. And let's take a look at what he has to say.
But it's a very good question. And the answer to it some people it may sound like, I really don't mind some of these small minds, in here, right? Oh, you are just disgruntled, I don't want a job with this government because I have not seen a program. I'm not going to accept a job or interact with any entity if you don't have a program or you don't have a plan.
True.
You have to have a plan of action. But I'm saying that the interest that I have, like it's a national interest. Gambia is my interest. No job. It's very different. A job. I can find a job. I can create a job, my own job.
I don't think you ever need to.
I don't need a job. I can create one for myself. What we need is economic development. They're two radically different things. A job and economic. I didn't fight for no job. I was fighting for economic development that will benefit the vast majority of the Gambian people. Infrastructure, healthcare, agriculture. We can feed ourselves. Huh? And good living conditions. Because the wretchedness of in the Banjul area, like in the houses, and you go to the rural areas, like when the rainy season comes, like it's just squalor, and those are the things that interest me. So in order to build that, you have to be very frugal, you don't just go and waste resources, like on things that are not priority. That's what this is what I am saying, that they're doing the wrong things. They are rumors, and it's not rumors because when it becomes a rumor, a couple of days after they come and admit to it that the Chinese have come up and give us, whatever number of $1 million to build an entertainment center and all that crap.
In Gambia?
Entertainment center, let's prioritize. Right now we have some serious issues and problems that we need to, this is the biggest problem we have in Africa. This, this really misinformed concept or ideas of development. It's all maldevelopment. The people have to be developed.
In order.
Yes, in order for actual development to happen. Like good, lasting infrastructures and good, lasting healthcare and good, lasting educational system. So I don't care, 2, 3, 4 roads, here and there. And then you want to brag about that thing, just like Gambia was doing, development, and people fall for that thing. And I'm telling them, how can you be satisfied with this wretchedness in Banjul, in the rural areas? You call this development? Come on. So, these are the struggles that I am interested in. Where the people, like we open the people's mind, and put ideas, in there, and not insults. Sure. Because a lot of these people here, who support UDP, or the tactical code, it just means being opportunist. That's what it is. You're sacrificing long-term gains for short-term gains. It is outright. That's what it is. Opportunistic. I mean, and this is not what people fought for.
Uncle Oz, if given the opportunity right now, you are put in a position of being the president of the Gambia. What is one thing or what is the first thing that you are going to do if you were in that position?
Well, if I were in that position, well, one thing, let me clarify one thing too. Look, I don't believe in this, this hypocritical thing that, I don't want, I'm not looking for a position.
No, of course.
It's very different, right? But what I'm saying is that I am not in this fight, like just to fight and then hand this thing to somebody, in a silver platter. No. We want to select the best sons and daughters of the country to govern. To govern, And just becoming a president doesn't mean a damn thing to me. There's more to it than that. It's just a name, what most presidents, but look at Africa. The point is not just because of becoming a president or a minister. How are you going to change and transform the lives of the people?
Of the country.
The vast majority of the people. Give them hope and eradicate that demoralization. Our people have been demoralized for the longest time. So what I'm saying is that, but I wanted to explain it, in that context, that, because becoming a president, like, it's really, to me, secondary.
Yeah,
yes,
it's true.
but the program that you have, is what's going to determine really what an effective leader you're going to be.
So pretty much you're going to lay down everything one by one.
And first of all, we need to make sure that the people understand what we are up against. One, there's going to be we have to cultivate this power, where the people who put us there understand that like, the power lies in the hands of the people.
So transparency, communication,
communication, because they don't communicate with anybody. This secrecy and mystery.
But why do you think they're like so secretive though?
Because look, somebody had told me that
You believe that?
Well, I mean, what else can I conclude? What else can I conclude? Not all of them, maybe, but there are certain people, maybe, the people that they're listening to. Tactically.
Tactically. I'm sorry.
No, maybe
I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. It's laughable, though.
No, it is, because that's the only thing you can do at this point. Sitting down with someone like yourself, you put your livelihood on hold for a freedom that you don't have to live there, but for the people of the Gambia, and knowing what's going on right now, it must be very devastating.
No, I mean, but I'm not, it's not, it hasn't, it is, some people, like it is, but it hasn't devastated.
Yeah,
because,
I mean, devastated meaning all your effort
and
everything you worked for, and now it's like you're sitting there like, I just need to communicate.
That's the word. That's the word. Because look, it's not accidental that nature provided us with 2 ears and 1 mouth.
True that.
It's not accidental. You have to listen. But if you don't want to listen to people, they're going to talk. And when they talk, you get offended.
You're going to be very sensitive too.
Yeah, of course, that's what it is. Why are you offended? Because look, if somebody criticizes you, somebody puts you in, came in and said, okay, we lined up for hours and voted for you. Mimi, if I vote for you, you're the one who's supposed to be scared of me, not me being scared of you, because I'm the one who put you there.
Yes, sir.
And that's what the voters and the people need to drive into their heads, from the president coming down, that we put you there. If it wasn't for us, you won't be the president. So don't get too thin-skinned, or that when people say one thing, criticize, you want to just, what are they going to do? Throw everybody in jail just like Yaya
Are they doing
do?
that?
Huh?
Are they doing that?
No, I'm just saying.
True.
Because sooner or later, people are going to talk. What are you going to do? Look, just humble yourself, like, accept criticism. All it does is just make you develop and then become a stronger person.
Sure.
But if people criticize you and then you want to take it personally, oh, I'm going to get back at you. How are you going to mature? That's the essence of criticism. And you have to be also daring enough to criticize yourself when you run. So this is the fundamental problem that we are confronted with right now. And I'm not going to keep quiet. I've never kept quiet, so why would I? And I'm telling you, the people on the ground there, the people have woken up. Yeah, like there's
being in Gambia, you just went there.
There's
like
a consciousness. There's a consciousness that has really crept into the brains of the people. And
you think it's taste of freedom?
Yeah, but in the absence of an organized political entity to counter, any of these hidden agendas, or trying to think that the government, like, it's a place to come and chop, Yeah, that's what it is.
I'm sorry.
The people leko kaila wala double dollar. So these are the things that people are aware of now, and then they know that they are not going to tolerate that thing, because JANHA have done it too long, and just come in there, accumulated so much filthy wealth. you know, at our expense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I maybe right now I am not. I would say I'm not disappointed because really, you know, to be honest with you, when you have a coalition of organizations, these things they tend to happen.
True.
But I think let's not try to fool the people anymore.
True.
You know, let's not try to fool the people anymore. Let's try to be genuine. You know, and then be content, and then you know abandon these ideas of hegemony and want to monopolize power. You know, at the expense of the vast majority of us. You know, when you can see the misery and the poverty that is in that country. It's so blatant, you know, it will bite you, man, if you are not careful, you know, or stab you. So I'm just saying, these are the things that the people wanted to change. So we cannot come here and then act like we own the, one political party owns the country.
Political party, yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, you know, they don't want to hear it. But, you know, like they're trying to establish this UDP hegemony, you know, which...
So you feel like the UDP is in charge now?
Yeah, that's what, no, they're the ones saying that. They're the ones saying that. And then we're saying, no, that's not how it should be perceived.
What are you afraid of? Being the fact that now it seems like a UDP is in charge of the Gambia.
No, but you know, UDP is not in charge of the Gambia. That's what that's the myth that, you know, like that people have to really expunge out of their consciousness. Because UDP, Barrow resigned from the UDP to stand as a candidate for the coalition. So don't tell me it's a UDP government. It is not.
It's not a UDP government.
No, it is a coalition government because that's how Barrow came into office. So let's stick within those parameters that brought Barrow to power, and not, you know, venture into a terrain that is just going to create a lot of chaos. We just came out of chaos, the most chaotic period of our history, and then you want to return us back into that for what? I mean,
We have more coming up after this break with Mr. Ousainou Mbenga. Stay tuned.
Is there anything that you regret, that you wish you'd done differently? Not regret, you wish you'd done differently, knowing everything you knew, and now you're seeing, you lived through it, you're seeing it, it's manifested. Some of your fears are actually coming in reality. What is one thing that you wish you'd done differently, knowing what you know now?
One thing that would have done differently, I think, is the so-called diaspora, you know, because when the opposition parties came together, we understood that it's natural. That's what coalitions do. So whoever comes and form it and be part of the coalition, when they win, you're gonna get a position, you know, or your guys will get some position and things like that. But I think the error that we made was that we didn't put anything on the table. Like the diaspora and so on. You tell them that, listen, if you win the elections, you know, like this is what we also. This is what we also want.
We also want it.
Yeah.
Because you guys were not sure that they were.
Because, you know, like really, you know, we wanted to, and some people, me, that came to my mind, but some people wanted to. They didn't want to give the impression that, you know, we were remote controlling them, you know, and things like that, which I didn't want to do either. But the reality is, look at what is happening now. The tactical coalition is remote controlling everybody. You know? So what I'm saying is that I would, in hindsight, these are the things that we should have laid down to them. Because, you know, I can see the opportunism, you know, like it's very blatant. Sacrificing long-term gains for short-term gains. You know, I'm a minister of this, you know, like, hey, I'm going to protect this thing. I'm a minister of the law, I'm a permanent secretary of this, you know, I'm going to protect this thing. At the expense of the national interest. That is wrong. That is very wrong. So that's, if there is any regret, oh, I would say something that I would have done differently, it would have been that, we would have laid out things and say, listen, this is the situation right now. When this victory comes, because we want to vote. As a diaspora, we want to vote. Everybody else, most people are doing it. Senegal is doing it for the longest time.
To vote here in the diaspora.
Yeah, to vote right here.
And they have the voice.
And have a voice.
Here and then implement stuff.
Yes.
That's a great
Why
idea.
are you scared? Why are they scared of that?
That's a great idea.
Why should you be scared of that? Maybe this is
I'm not to lose.
there's only there's only one kind of human being that I'm scared of. The human being that doesn't think. That don't have they relinquish their brains either to the politicians or the some blind faith imam or really or priest. It's not accidental that our brain like is on our head at the top upright, so it's yours. Don't relinquish it to anybody. So the only kind of person that I'm afraid of is the person that doesn't think. Because they can come and wreak havoc on some small, minor criticisms, and then they take it so personally, and internalize it, and then create problems, like at the mass level, and just create some havoc, like in society. But somebody, like who thinks. When I come in and make a criticism of you, at least you probably might be, who does he think he is? But then when you reflect, if you are a thinker, you reflect and say, oh man, listen man, I think Uncle Rose is right. So let me just step back and see
myself from
see myself, and see, based on the criticism that I made. That's what I like, those are the people that I want around me. People who tell me, man, Uncle Rose, you are wrong, even though I'm your uncle. This is not, no, Uncle Rose, no, I think we can do it another way.
Honesty,
right.
To be around
we
you.
Can do it, we can do it another way, because I think, if we, tell me, don't act like, I am the president or whatever, and then I'm beyond criticism. No. We want to solve the problems of our people. And the only way we're going to solve them is if we listen to each other and accept when we are wrong.
True.
But I am wrong.
Facts.
Accept it and have the audacity to tell yourself the truth.
True.
Hey man, you are wrong. And then you accept it. Rosa, me, I appreciate those things. And I just say, wow.
Because you're human.
Yeah, look at this young boy. And then I pull you close to me because I know we are all human beings.
True.
Nobody is infallible. In a period like this, it is very critical. This period is the most, because the threat of Jammeh's sabotage is still there. And then you get some of these guys that were in there, with Jammeh, in bed with Jammeh, reading with books.
And it's studying.
And they are still, not only in the Gambia, they are in the government.
Wow, that's scary.
Or even at the security level.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to bed, and still be sleeping with one eye open, and then thinking that somebody's gonna come and kick my door down like they did, and then I'll disappear me. No.
Nothing is gonna get done.
No, nothing is gonna get done, and these are the things that we are saying that, let's be honest to ourselves. And, this Mansa, I think, there's gonna be no Mansa in here, we want people to have a say in everything that happens in that country. I'm not saying that, you're gonna come and discuss everything and then you vote on it and things like that, we don't have time for all those things.
True.
But when you make decisions, make sure that, you consider all the factors that are being put in that decision, so that whatever it, whatever it yields is going to be beneficial to all of us at the national level, So you don't have to be scared of criticism, And because one of the things that that we are so badly afflicted with is we are so scared of each other. And then we are not scared of our primary enemy, the people that make millions out of our misery. You know? Why is Africa so rich and all these things? And then, you know, we are the most impoverished.
Poorest nation in the whole entire universe is Africa.
Why?
Mashallah. You know, Uncle Oz, it's just so humbling, you know, hearing all these great things from you and knowing your position, where you stand for us and where you've been for us, giving us this platform and giving us air to breathe and to practice what we love and what we're doing the most. You know, it's really humbling to have you on the show today, sir. Is there any projection that you want to give us? You want to tell us 5 years from now, where are we going to see Uncle Oz? Are we going to see you write your own book? Or are we going to see you, you know, giving like the speech? Or what can we see you?
5 years from now, I want to go back to Gambia and contribute to the best of my ability, without any fanfare or expecting that I'm going to you know, this chasing titles. I don't chase titles. You know, titles don't mean anything to me. You know, but I want to contribute to the best of my ability to transform that society and the lives of people in the Gambia and Africa in general. And you know, so that, you know, we can have principal unity amongst ourselves and change our wretched conditions. You know, we are just, I mean, the conditions in Africa are just inexcusable. And I am confident that they can be changed, but it's going to be changed under a different kind of leadership. Leadership, maybe you cannot build a house from the top to the bottom.
Yeah.
You know, the houses are built from the bottom up. So that's the kind of leadership that we need to cultivate now. The leadership from the bottom up, you know, so that we'll make sure that the foundation, you know, like won't have any termites, you know, in it. Just like jamming. I mean, you cannot come and build on the structure that jamming left there, because everything is termite infested. And rats and cockroaches, you know. So this is, and then people say, oh, Uncle Oz is radical, and I said, oh yeah.
Oh no.
What is more radical what Jammeh was doing? 22 years, you know, like he came and, you know, there is no family in the country that Jammeh hasn't touched or tried to destroy.
No.
So and then you're telling me that I am radical. It expresses my profound appreciation, because you know, one of the problems that we have in Africa too is documenting. And I'm so glad that, you know, like you know, this, you know, you are just, you know, spot on. And just everything that we do has to be documented.
Amen. So
that we can stop running to go to London to, when we do research, at least we can, okay, I don't have to go to London to this. Some things, you know, you may, or come to the Library of Congress in here. Let's start. See, this is the kind of society that I envision. A society, you know, where, you know, the talent of the individual has no bounds, you know? Yeah, and once that is done, there's no problem that, you know, we couldn't solve. Yeah. So I mean, don't get intimidated with somebody, you know, who has ideas, because ideas is what runs life. You know, if you suppress or repress people's ideas, that's what happens. Sooner or later, you know, like they're just gonna explode. It's just like you push somebody all the way, when you push them, and then their backs on the wall. They have two things to do. Either they fall into the wall, you know, or retaliate. You know, so I mean, look, man, I am very optimistic, you know, that things are going to, things will change. But there are certain requirements and ingredients, and it has to start with leadership, man. And we don't have to be intimidated. Everybody, any society that advances, did it through revolutionary insight. And revolutionary insight, when we say, you know, like they interpret it as something being violent, no. But science would have to be the basis of how we really transform the society. We rely on these backward superstitions and this reactionary and mentality of this is our culture. And if it is not moving us anywhere, we have to really reevaluate it and put something in place based on science. Science is not foreign to us. We were the first scientists, on this planet Earth.
Yeah, sure.
Because if you go to Africa, if you go to Egypt, you see those pyramids are still standing there. I'm not saying that we're going to have to go back building pyramids, but it was science.
Yeah.
It was science that built it.
Prediction.
It was science that allowed them to mummify, like this, even though it was done with only kings and the elite. But it was science. They knew how to preserve, certain organs, for a long period of time and things like that. It was all science. So science is not foreign to Africa. So we have to use science to advance our society and let go of these backward traditional things that we're clinging on that hasn't made any difference in our lives. So that's what I have for, especially for young people.
Thank you so much.
Science.
Thank you,
have to be
so
scientific.
much. Thank you so much, Uncle. It's so humbling to have you on the show, sir. And this is like the biggest accomplishment for me, having someone like you on the show. It's so humbling, and I really want to personally thank you from the bottom of my heart for giving us this time. And it's so amazing and it's so precious to me. So thank you. Is there any last word that you want to tell the viewers out there?
It's my pleasure. I want to thank you, all the listeners. When you look at this episode here, I was just passionately speaking. I'm not angry at anybody, and especially this new government here, Mr. Barrow. I'm not angry at you.
No.
I just want you to understand that we want some fundamental changes, in that country.
True.
So my brother, just take this in stride. It's just a criticism. All it does is going to make you stronger,
Amen.
and make us stronger, and make that country stronger, and then we can move forward and build a proud future Gambia,
yes, sir.
Where everybody is going to be so proud of you, and then you will have a legacy that we'll be talking about for our next 100 years.
Amen.
Please remember that. We want you to have a legacy that we can be talking about for the next 100 years. I am not criticizing you because I dislike you or anything like this. I already stated here about your humility. One good quality, in a leader.
Sure.
So keep your humility. Don't let anybody expunge it out of you, my brother. So thank you, listeners. And Mimi, I am so appreciative.
Thank you so much. Well, that brings us to the end of our segment for today. I'm your girl, Mimi Sisi JANHA, and my uncle,
Ousainou Mbenga.
Thank you so much for tuning in and watching another exclusive. Thank you. Till then, I'll see you all soon. Bye. Special edition of the Mimi JANHA Show.
moo taxit sunu maam yi